That being said, I'll give the floor to our next speaker, Dr. Jonathan Crane.
Thank you. Okay. Thanks very much for inviting me. I'm going to continue the talk about cultivars. And thank you. And it's really been fortunate for me and fortunate for Florida and the industry. I'm going to be talking about Gary Zill's project, his breeding program, and just talk a little bit about some of the new cultivars that have been recently introduced into the industry. And when I say recently, I'm talking about 7, 8 years, within the past 7, 8 years. Okay. Just a little bit about mango production historically in Florida. We are now about 3,600 acres, according to the Ag Census in 2022. And they reported about 1,100 commercial groves, that there's actually mango acreage reported in 23 counties. And there's an estimated value from an economic study that was done saying it's worth about $20.5 million a year. This is a map showing Florida. And wherever there's orange dot is where there is acreage. And there's reported like 1 acre in these places now. I'm not sure about those. But certainly we're seeing a dramatic increase in acreage, I'd say from about Hillsborough County south. We're seeing more and more acreage go in. And this is just to show you some of the acreages here. And so we have, as many of us know and has been mentioned before, Florida has had a long history of mango selection and testing and promoting new cultivars and selections. And as Richard mentioned, during the past decade or so, the Florida industry has undergone a renaissance, really. There are these new and unique cultivars, high quality cultivars, very different flavors, sizes, shapes, colors, aromas. And as you know, also, the Mango Board has this on their website about U.S. consumer increase in mango consumption. And there's also this great interest in enthusiasm for specialty mango varieties, right? Varieties that you can't get in the major markets or major stores. So the purpose of this presentation is just to, and this paper, working with Gary and Richard and Jeff and Alex, was to document and introduce to FSHS and the wider world information on a small selection of the 26 or so of the 40 varieties or so that Gary has released and developed. And so I'm just going to talk about a few of them because there's definitely not time to go through 40 varieties. And this is Gary here. And his program has been going on for about 33 years from what I understand. And as it mentions there, and his selection of the maternal and paternal parents were based on their fruit and tree characteristics and young leaf aroma. And so this is, I think, one of the keys is that he has used that technique to help select. And he's evaluated, over 10,000 seedlings were pre-screened and evaluated manually by their young leaf aroma. And really the impetus for this program was to select for mangoes with more intense and more interesting Southeast Asian and Indian-like aromas and flavors. And I know different researchers, different people categorize the mangoes, Richard had this Borneo type flavor and others. And so the categories that we have here are just broad categories. And you can see here below the Indian type mangoes, this aromatic, mild to intense, sweet flavor with citrus and spicy notes. And the Southeast Asian, the same thing, but very sweet with notes of citrus and other tropical fruit flavors. And so this is just breaking up those cultivars, these 26 cultivars, into the two types, the Indian types, Southeast Indian types, and then the intensity of that particular type, moderate, intense, or mild, okay? And so here's first two, buttercream and coconut cream. I don't need to read, all the dimensions about this. But you can see the flavor profile, for instance, with the buttercream, the Southeast Asian with moderately intense flavor, rich and very sweet, and the pulp texture, creamy. And this is an early to mid-season type. And then we also talk a little bit when we have the information on moderate anthracnose disease resistance. I should tell you the disease resistance ratings, these are mostly, observational, right? There has not been a systematic screening for anthracnose resistance, right? So these are, I call it preliminary in a way. Coconut cream, this is one that Gary had patented it. The patent is now over, but this one has an Indian type flavor, very aromatic with intense coconut flavor. Excellent quality. I know a lot of people really like this mango. And again, the anthracnose resistance talks about, now there is a third disease, which is up in the Palm Beach County area, bacterial black spot. And it has become a limiting factor for growing some types of mango cultivars. So it's something that especially Alex has really been able to give us information on in his planting there in Palm Beach, West Palm Beach. Fruit cocktail, the smaller fruit with aromatic, fiberless, rich, sweet, intense Indian flavor, very good quality, mid-season. Fruit punch, a larger fruit. And I've got there the shapes of the fruit. Most people are going to have to get their dictionaries out to look up, what is ovoid, things like that. But once you look it up once, you'll know what it is, right? The fruit punch, aromatic, light orange, fiberless, intense Indian flavor, excellent quality. The bricks, we were able to take the bricks on some of these over the past couple of years to get a feel for how sweet they are. So you can tell it's sweet. And again, moderate anthracnose resistance, but moderate susceptibility to bacterial black spot, which could be a problem in some growing areas, right? Early to mid-season. Harvest Moon, I really like this fruit. It's a large fruit. Really does look sort of like a harvest moon in a way. Good quality, intense flavor, quite sweet. Has the observation is it has good anthracnose resistance, mid-season harvest. Lemon zest is a very nice one as well. It's a medium large fruit. Has a good flavor, intense flavor, good sweetness, resistance to anthracnose, but is susceptible to bacterial black spot and powdery mildew. So that's something you want to know if you're in an area where that can be an issue, right?